Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Board of Education business meeting. It's September 20th. It's 7 p.m. I would remind you that the exits are to the rear, and there's one behind us, and I'd ask you to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First on the agenda is public comments. Anyone wishing to speak, we would ask you to take the microphone at the end of the table. You should state your name, and please remember that there's a 3-minute time limit on any comments. There's also another time at the end of the meeting if anyone wishes to comment at that time.
Hello, everybody. My name is Oscar Rivas, and I live here in Cornwall, and I have a son that two kids to go here to Lee Road. So far, I appreciate everything the administration, everybody's done. I think the school year started out really well. For one of my kids, it's been a little bit difficult because he doesn't have a lot of friends in his class. So, on top of everything, we have the COVID protocols when it comes to recess and the lunchroom. And it's been difficult for him to create new friends just because they can't commingle, they can't do things like that. He had a great time on the field trip when they went to Black Rock. But I wanted to see if there was any leadway when it comes to recess, maybe like a rotation schedule where classes can commingle with other classes. That way you can keep kind of the contact tracing protocols, and you can see who's mingling with who. Just as a way for him to interact with some of his friends. Also, he's a third grader, so it's difficult for him to play in certain areas that are like a little dragon. So it's like, what am I gonna do? So maybe find ways where the older kids can have access to more in-depth, or maybe have access to like balls or something they can play around a little bit more. And in the lunchroom, I hear there's assigned seating. He's sitting next to kids that he doesn't really know, so therefore it's difficult for him to interact with somebody during lunch. So when he comes home, he's saying that he hates school, he comes home crying, he's having a hard time. So if there's anything that we can do to alleviate some of the social needs that our kids have. I know my son, I'm not saying that change everything because of my kid, but I'm sure there's a lot of kids that are going through that. And if we can do something to make that better, I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Oscar. Okay, moving on. We're going to go to reports. We are very excited to have with us John Germain and Caleb Sandler. They are our student reps for this year, and so welcome. And you're good to go. You have to press the button to turn the green light comes on, and you guys are good to go. However, whoever wants to go first is fine. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
I think you. Oh, is it mine on?
Yeah, green light on. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm John Germain, and this is the spiel on what's been going on throughout the high school for the first few weeks of school. As the high school opened this year for the first normal year we've had in two, the myriad of accomplishments and the change in atmosphere truly show just how much students needed this return to normalcy. It's been so great to see the gloom and uncertainty of the pandemic begin to leave the high school. We've had the return of after-school activities, sports events, arts programs, and clubs, interscholastic activities, assemblies, and much more. The high school even has 2 dances upcoming, the homecoming dance and the Sadie Hawkins dance.
The high school is not just, is mine on? There we go. The high school is not just seeing the return of arts, but many new accomplishments and upcoming events. The drama club is now rehearsing their rendition of Fools, a Neil Simon play based upon the journey of people within a small rural village in the Ukraine. The orchestra, band, and jazz band have all returned to in-school rehearsal and will be having concerts this winter. This year, CTHS has 7 students admitted into NYSSMA's All-State Concerts, ensembles made up of the top musicians in the state. The students are John Archangel on saxophone, Ben Carter, who's a vocalist, Natalie Celentano, who plays both the piccolo and the flute, Victor Perez, who's a fantastic guitarist, and myself, who plays the cello. Josh Wozniak, who is on the euphonium, and Sam Wozniak, who plays the trombone. Upcoming, there will be auditions for all county as well as performances for area All-State coming up soon as well.
Through all the changes we've had in the last couple years, one thing that will never change is our dominance in athletics. Every team has noted that with the return of the student section, they have a little extra school pride on game day. The energy that the section brings to every sporting event is unmatched. This energy was truly felt once again at our first football game against Port Jervis. The team dominated every aspect of the game and secured not only the win, but a shutout as well. The very talented senior group led the way with their experience. They then went on to beat Monroe Woodbury and Newburgh, 2 powerhouse schools. They are undefeated and look to keep that streak alive on Friday night when they play Pine Bush at home.
The football team isn't the only undefeated team at the moment, though. The boys' soccer team and the girls' volleyball team have also had amazing starts to their seasons. The boys' soccer team won their first game 3-1 against Newburgh, with goals coming from John Germain, Connor Zalacal, and Ethan Krakoa. They have won 4 games, with 3 of them being against Class AA schools, which is the highest school that we can play against. They look to continue this winning streak against Goshen tomorrow night. The girls' volleyball team has also dominated in all 3 of their games, losing only 1 set in total. This insanely skilled group has yet to been tested, but they play their rivals, Goshen, this coming Wednesday at home. It's been an amazing start in athletics, but one we shouldn't be surprised by because we arguably have best all-around teams in the section.
Here at CEHS, we are very, CES, we are very excited to welcome our students back to school. To kick off the school year, we held our kindergarten orientation, and each kindergarten teacher was able to meet with their incoming students and families and set up stations for supply drop-off. PTO joined us for the orientation, and we even got a visit from our new dragon mascot. Stay tuned for what our mascot will be named.
At one of the other elementary schools, COH, the school has gone off to a great start. Students are finally settling back into their classrooms and adjusting to being in school with their friends, which is something we haven't really experienced in a while. They've shown great resiliency and have been super cooperative in regards to safety protocols. Every day, the staff at COH hears something that makes it evident that children love being back in school and spending time with their friends. There was a COH virtual open house which was held on September 9th. Parents and guardians were able to speak with teachers and spent the evening listening to them explain their plans and expectations for children in the classroom. COH held its first School Spirit Day on September 17th. The hallways and classrooms were filled with students wearing green and white. The first morning opening assembly will take place for students on October 1st. They're looking forward to celebrating their success in person. COH will be participating in Sheriff's Week by having Orange County deputies come to their building and read storybooks to numerous classes. The staff and students are looking forward to participate with the Read with a Deputy program. And so that's the news for COH, and now we go to the middle school.
And now to the middle school. We have had a great opening to our school year. Many thanks to our teachers and staff for all the work and preparation to get all of our students back into to our classroom 5 days a week. CCMS is a buzz with excitement and energy. Our very own teacher band greeted students and parents on the first day, and students have already gotten back into the full swing of things. We are excited for another great year. Virtual open house was held on September 9th. Parents and students sat together to review their teachers' open house videos. CCMS was able to host Dragon Camp this August. Incoming 5th graders got the opportunity to meet their teachers and classmates, drop off supplies, learn a little more about the building, play in our playground, start a collaborative art project, and take part in cooperative games. We finished the day off with pizza for lunch. It was an amazing morning. Many thanks to all of our teachers who helped.
And finally, we have a letter from Mrs. Buckholz, the new principal of Willow Avenue, which is over there. We are so happy to have welcomed our students back in person to Willow Avenue. It has been heartwarming to see the students in classrooms, listening to jokes and stories and hearing their laughter. Our social worker has been visiting the classrooms talking about DASA and teaching a lesson on our monthly character trait of friendship. Within these lessons, she is also talking to the students about our SEL theme of the month, building relationships. Mrs. Buchholz visited our kindergarten classes to help them train their dragons to be kind and teach them ways to sprinkle kindness like confetti around Willow. Our kindness tree is blooming with lots of leaves already, and we have our Willow spotlight in our sensational teacher, Mrs. Santos, this month. Our kindergartners are heading to the apple orchards next week, and we have the Orange County Sheriffs coming in to read for our students for National Sheriff's Week. We are off to a great start at Willow and are looking forward to a successful school year. So that really summarizes overall what's been happening across the schools. But I think we could just comment momentarily on our experience especially in the high school. It's just last year with COVID and how everything manifested, there was so much uncertainty as we moved forward. There was no clear sight into what will happen next. Who's getting quarantined? Are we going to be in school 5 days a week? Are we going to be on virtual? There was uncertainty and there was a gloom that definitely blanketed the school, which I can say at least I haven't been seeing, because students, now that vaccination is a lot more widespread and students have had a very calming and productive summer, I'm hoping for some at least. I know for us going into college we had to, but it's just the atmosphere has changed. There's been a lot of, the lunchroom, there's not barriers anymore. Conversations are easier. So the atmosphere overall has just been much better, and I feel like we're moving towards more a sense of normalcy, especially considering we're starting with 5 days.
Definitely agree with everything that Caleb said, and honestly, the biggest thing for me is that just everyone's back in school together. Like, all my friends are there. Last year, there was only half the school there, and most of my friends were in the other days, so we didn't really get a good experience out of it. But now being a senior and having everyone back together has just been such a blessing, and especially having the student section back at the football games and other sporting events has definitely raised the morale in our school for sure. So, yeah.
And I think it's also funny to say, like, you don't realize who you don't see until you see them again. So now that everyone's back, there's people that I'm like, I've known you since kindergarten, but I've completely forgot we went to the same school. So it's definitely been a positive experience in the right direction, in my opinion.
Exactly, because we all have friends that we hang out with out of school, like our best friends, but then we also have in-school friends that we talk to every single day when we're in school, and not being able to see them really brings down some of our days, for sure.
So overall, it's been very good.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to our committee reports. Brendan, we'll start with you.
Thanks, Nancy. So the Communication Committee is having its first meeting of the year this Wednesday, 7 o'clock right here in this room. We've already had a few community members reach out asking to participate, and that's been great. And we encourage anybody who wants to join in our efforts this year as a community to do so. We'll be talking about some just general strategies for the entire year, and in particular how that relates to the upcoming bond proposal. Thank you.
Margaret?
Communications Committee, Visitation Committee, the other SHUN committee. We have dates set now, so we're going to be in the schools on the 23rd, which is this coming Thursday, then next week the 30th, and then the following Tuesday, the 5th. We do have, I know people had wanted to know if we had any spots available. We actually have one slot available on the 23rd, and our visitation times will be from 9 to 2. So if anybody wants to, let me know if they want to take that spot. And then there will also be a spot available on Tuesday the 5th, and that will be just 9 to 11. So if anybody wants those spots, please email me. It'll be first come, first serve. And then we're looking forward to visiting the schools. Thanks.
Thank you. Larry?
Yes. The Facilities Committee met on the 14th. We reviewed the construction manager contract analysis distributed by Harvey. And after discussion and input from Harvey and Walter, the committee is recommending that the Palomo Group to act as our construction manager. Terry discussed the project timeline and it's going to set up a schedule to engage the staff and the community. The Communications Committee has been invited to our next meeting, which is on the 28th, and Brendan has agreed. That way we would start to discuss PR, marketing, communication strategies. And we've all been charged with the mission of coming up with 5 communication strategies. Scope of the project, the preliminary highest needs, the 5-year, are based on the 5-year facilities master plan and the executive summary, which were distributed that night. And also a first draft of a planning document were distributed. The committee discussed the scope of the project and possible priorities, discussed the possibility of putting up 2 propositions, one for athletic facilities and one for everything else. No decision was made. And it was decided that for the next meeting, the committee members would review the documents that were distributed. We'd continue our scope of the project discussion. In addition, Terry will present his plan for staff and community engagement. So the next meeting is in this room, Tuesday, September 28th at 6:30. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything for Orange County School Boards? Or, oh, no, probably not, because not until a couple of weeks from now. Thank you. I'm sorry. Louis?
The Board of Ed Scholarship, I've got some recommendations on some changes, or some suggestions on some changes, so I'm gonna review those changes, and we'll get back to you guys. I'll hopefully next meeting I can cycle them in, I'll email it out, and we can put this on our agenda for next time and close it.
Thank you. Teresa, anything on policy? Is your mic on?
Supposed to be, and always when it's supposed to be on. I have some dates from Terry that's convenient for him, and I've just sent them out, and I've gotten responses from 2 of the board members. I think you'll be getting back to me too. So we should be setting that up shortly.
Thank you. John, anything?
So the audit committee is going to meet October 1st at 2:30 at the district office. We have some organization things that we'll talk about in the first half hour, and then we'll go into executive session to talk with the external auditor on their draft annual report.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, anyone else? I think I got everybody. Yeah, okay. Next, superintendent's update. Terry?
All right, good evening. So as you know, we had 2 fabulous student board representatives in Josh and Giselle last year, and they left huge shoes to fill, but after my first meeting with John and Caleb, they are going to do as great, if not even better than Josh and Giselle. Caleb already gave me it's going to be better, so I love it. But 2 fantastic, stellar gentlemen representing our student body, and they're going to do a fantastic job, so I enjoyed meeting with them this month. This is day 11 of school, so it's amazing to hear everything that John and Caleb reported on day 11, when we said we would bring the district back together. I believe we've done just that. 5 days of in-person learning, extracurricular activities galore, athletic prowess on the fields and in court. So we're looking forward to even greater months ahead. By way of celebration, keeping the trifecta going with arts and athletics, but don't forget academics. Last year we had 2 National Merit Scholarship semifinalists, and this year we have 2 National Merit Scholarship semifinalists. They are Benjamin Harrell and Emma Tolman. So I'm positive that both of them will represent us well. Just as a quick reminder, there's 1.5 million juniors that take the PSAT that get ranked and are compared to one another across this great country. And out of those 1.5 million, 15,000 are selected for semifinalists. So this is no small feat. And then out of the 15,000, based on their academic review, will be competing to be National Merit finalists, as Catherine achieved last year. So looking forward to great things again from our students, not only on the fields and in courts and on the stage, but also in the classroom. And finally, I'm going to turn it over to Megan. We've been busy getting committees organized and starting to plan out for the remainder of the year, so she's going to give an update on the Professional Learning Committee.
Good evening, everyone. So we met last week for our Professional Learning Committee, which is previously known as our Professional Development and Plan Committee, but the state changed that a couple years ago. So when I'm referring to that, that's what I'm speaking of. So over the summer, we tweaked our survey that would be sent out to faculty and staff, so they would have about a month to complete it and give us feedback in regards to areas that they personally feel is needed for some additional professional development, focus areas that we want to key into, and then just ongoing PD that's taking place. So we met last week, and some common themes and threads are SEL, trauma-informed training, mindfulness, continuation of technology with Google Apps and integration, but even more so with integrating the technology into the lesson and having time to use the technology before using it in the classroom. And then now that we're in this new age of Google Classroom, retweaking current lessons that we have, that we teach, so that we can be ready for virtual lessons at any time. And then just continuation of RTI strategies, using data to drive best practices, differentiation for all students, including our Ls in special ed, increased diversity training, teaching tough topics, writing, school psychologist training, related service training. Nice feedback. For a couple of years, we've been able to do vertical alignment when we have superintendent's conference days. Last year, obviously, we couldn't do that, so we're looking forward to being able to do that again, where we would have, for example, our math department in the middle and the high school work together. We have grade levels working together, 4th to 5th grade, and so on. We are rolling out F&P this year on our elementary level for guided reading, so training in that regard. Next gen standards, we kind of left off there before COVID, so continuing with that work. And content-specific development in middle and high school. So our next steps will be, and I forgot to mention, our committee has 20 members of it, made up of administrators, teachers, a Board of Ed member, and teachers and teaching assistants. So we'll meet again October 13th. The committee has already been given the breakdown of themes from the meeting, as discussed, tweaks made so far from the committee. And then our next meeting will focus on aligning. We have 2 additional goals to focus in on, and any language that we need to clean up. So very productive first meeting.
Thank you both. For myself, it's great to see our committees getting up to speed. That's very exciting as a board. Wonderful to have our student reps with us. John, can I ask you to please move that? Thank you. Just down to the end, that's fine. That's okay.
It
Margaret,
started out in front of me.
They're lovely, but I'm short and I can't see
It
anybody.
kind of migrated down the way.
They're beautiful, thank you. Okay, I've been closely following the Orange County updates, and the good thing today, the news reported that Orange County is down 5% for cases, so hopefully we continue to go in the right direction. Thank you. Next item is the consent agenda. Use of the consent agenda permits the Board of Education to make more effective use of its time by adopting a single motion to cover those relatively routine matters which are included. Is there anyone right now that wishes to pull out an item off of the consent agenda, items 2 through 13? Could you? Thank you.
I don't want to pull anything out, but when we're talking about the, let's see now, the 9, 10, and 11.
We're not discussing them, so if they need to be pulled out, they need to be pulled out, otherwise it's.
Okay, then pull them out, please.
9, 10, and 11? Okay. Okay, anything else? Okay, so we have 2 through 8 and 12 and 13. 2 through 8 and 12 through 13, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And a second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So now items, we'll take them one at a time. Item 9, ERS Reserve Funding Resolution. Be it resolved that the Board of Education, by the Board of Education, that $400,000 from unappropriated fund balance for the 2021 school year be transferred to the ERS Contribution Reserve Fund. Be further resolved, this resolution takes immediate effect upon its adoption. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Discussion. Teresa?
And you can put the other two together after this. My question actually was, it was for Harvey. You gave me all the information, I appreciate it. But what I wanted to check on was the actual unemployment insurance reserve, which seems extremely low. I ask your opinion on that. Is that considered extremely low for that particular reserve?
It is a little low. We haven't had the opportunity to use it for a while, thankfully. During this past year, the year that just ended, the New York State Department of Unemployment reimbursed every school district for their claims. So we didn't need to dip into it, nor did we actually have to incur any out-of-pocket. To your point, is it low? It's a little low, I think, relative to what we might encounter. The question is which one of these reserves is the highest priority based on what we can put into them. And that's really why we didn't touch it this year.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. And Teresa, we do have to take them individually. So item number 10, TRS Reserve Funding Resolution. Be it resolved that the Board of Education, by the board, that $403,668 from unappropriated fund balance from the 2021 school year be transferred to the Retirement Contribution Reserve Subfund, and this takes effect immediately upon its adoption. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Again, it's the same question, Harvey. I realize now we've gotten the TRS basically up to $1 million, over $1 million. Ideally, where should, because that's going to be my question about the next one as well. Ideally, where do you think that should be?
So it's important to note that there is no set target or set percentage that we shoot for. You have to take a couple things into account. First of all, we never know what the rate or contribution rate that we as a district are going to be asked to put in. And when I say asked, we have to.
But that has to do with the stock market as well, correct?
Yes, so TRS is a 5-year moving average based on the market's return. That's not to say that TRS only invests in the stock market, but it's a large portion. And as the market goes, so does the contribution rates. So we've been doing pretty decent as of late, but that could easily change. The same holds true for ERS, the Employee Retirement System, but we have to bob and weave with respect to how the market does. We have to also bob and weave with respect to how state aid goes. The reason being is because if we do end up having a shortfall or just say not having a large enough increase to meet our needs, we're going to have to dip into these reserves. So to your point, you know, the TRS has about $1 million. Our annual contribution to TRS is about $3.2 million. So it's not extremely large. You know, it's getting to where we want it to be relative to where we are today. But you know, you might recall we had a board meeting back during the budget cycle where we talked about the reserves. I will be touching on that every year to give you some insight where we are relative to what we have in the reserves and where we should be.
No, I'm very pleased with this.
Okay.
I just wanted to get a sense of where we wanted to go with this and what you felt was appropriate.
Right.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. And number 11, Capital Reserve Funding Resolution. Be resolved that by the Board of Education that $2,927,423 from unappropriated fund balance from the 2021 school year be transferred to the Capital Reserve Fund. Be resolved that this resolution takes effect immediately upon its adoption. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And discussion?
No, just accolades to,
Okay.
I'll just
Hey, Nancy,
send
I-
some.
Go ahead, John.
I'll send some accolades to Harvey. I'm really pleased to see this. Thank you very much.
John?
Thank you, Nancy. So Harvey, the notion that, we're putting away $2.9 million for capital purposes is a good thing, I think, overall. Hopefully not too many people would object to that observation. But my question is, and only because we have not talked to the external auditor yet, but you have, and you've provided the financials, have they provided you any kind of indication that they're not happy with your work so far in terms of the financials that you put together for the, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause this is-
John, excuse me, I think that's out of order, okay? Truly, asking him if someone's not happy with the work he's done, I'm gonna just ask you to,
No.
if you wanna rephrase that, you rephrase it, but that's not an acceptable thing
Okay,
to
well,
discuss at a meeting.
I don't know if I used the term not happy with, but if I did, I apologize for that. But have you gotten any negative feedback regarding the state of our finances for the school year that just completed?
No, none whatsoever.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So all the reports that you've provided the board over the last, up until what, the August meeting, was it? I'm trying to think when you closed the books and you showed us what we look like, right? No one's challenged those numbers yet.
No.
Nor do we anticipate they will.
No.
Right? And the reason I just bring that up, Nancy, is I would have hoped if, bad news doesn't get better with age, and we're really in a tight deadline with all these things that we're trying to get done.
Okay.
And I just wanted to make sure that if we're saying it's 2.9 million and we're not gonna, change it ever, that there's, no bad news out there that no one around this table right now is aware of.
Okay,
And
thank
that's
you.
it. Thank you.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion carried, thank you. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is finalization and adoption of the 2021-22 board goals.
Nancy?
I'm sorry,
I think we need to vote on 12 and 13.
we did. Yeah, that was already, that was, yeah, no, that's okay,
Carved out
that's okay, Jim.
surgically.
No, always feel free to, because you never know if I forgot something, so that's, that's okay. All right, so the board goals, I was, and Brendan, thank you, and then John, you sent a late email that I looked at when I got here, but we did leave, so I'm gonna update everyone on one thing that we need to put in here, which would be under academic for personnel, as one of our goals, ensure every district employee has the support and resources needed. And then we will prioritize personnel needs in mid-year and end-of-year discussions. So I'll repeat that again. Personnel as a goal, ensure every district employee has the support and resources needed. We will prioritize personnel needs in mid-year and end-of-year discussions. So that'll be added to board goals. Academic, communications, facilities, financial safety, technology, and oversight, so personnel will be underneath academic. If anybody needs me to read that again, sorry I didn't get that out to you in an email, but. Okay, so we're open for discussion, and our goal is to finalize these tonight. And the feedback that I did get from the board was very favorable, so if everything's good, we could, move the question at this point and then move on to Terry.
No, Nancy, I just want to say thank you for doing this.
Well, thank you to all of you, because I certainly got input from everybody, I think, so it was very, definitely a group effort, so thank you.
I guess at this point, I'd like to say that perhaps one of the things we can do that whenever we have an item on our agenda, perhaps a little reference to which goal it's being referenced to. So it's showing that in fact, as we're going forward, we are addressing these goals.
Good idea. Thank you. Okay, so, do we have a motion to accept the board goals?
So moved.
And a second? Discussion, which we had a chance to do already. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carried. Thank you all very much. And again, thank you all for your input. It certainly meant a lot to get all the input that I did as well. Thank you. So now we're going to move on to to the superintendent's goals. Terry, I'm going to ask you to, you want to just read those?
There's been no changes since last time, but goal number 1 is maximize in-person instruction while safely and effectively transitioning the district back to its pre-COVID environment as soon as practicable. Goal number 2, provide district-wide social and emotional supports for students, families, and staff with a focus on those most impacted by the pandemic. And goal number 3, transition our district to a 1-to-1 school district for electronic devices by the end of the 21-22 school year.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Anyone have any questions of Terry? You saw this last month and had a whole chance, I mean, not last month, last meeting, I'm sorry, and you had a chance to look it over before this. Okay, so do I have a motion to accept Terry's goals?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Okay, we're up to our second opportunity for public comment. Anyone wishing to say something, there's the microphone at the end of the table. I would ask you to please state your name. Remember that you have 3 minutes, please, and be respectful of that time frame. If there's anybody that wishes to speak at this time, you may come forward. Okay, so then we're going to move on to closing comments from the board. And Caleb, we're going to start with you. If you don't mind, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Might I ask specifically what I'm commenting on?
Anything, you don't have to.
Okay.
But,
My,
because you guys commented so well, but I want to just tell you that always hearing from our board, our student reps, means so much to all of us, and I'm sure the former reps shared that with you, but it truly means a lot to us because you guys speak from the heart. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No,
You
no
can
worries.
certainly pass it this time if you want to, because you have shared so much, and your feelings strike us tremendously, so thank you so
my
much.
comments include a question?
I don't know, depends.
Okay. No, my only question is specifically for, I heard in the superintendent goals, we're trying to transfer to a 1-to-1 technology to student. What is the likelihood of that happening? Because I know the majority of students in the high school have Chromebooks except for, I think the senior class and the junior class. What is the likelihood of that happening, just because I realize in the classroom that that's something that we depend on pretty heavily?
100% will happen. So high school will be the first phase in, so I think we targeted by the first week of October for all of the high school to be 1-to-1.
Okay, that was just my question. Thank you so much. I will pass on the rest of my comments.
Thank you, John. Anything you'd like to share?
I don't have anything to share about the meeting, but I just want to say thank you for having us. Everyone's been so nice to us so far, so look forward to the rest of the year.
Thank you. And just for everyone's information, in case you didn't know, John and Caleb also helped with the scholarship committee as well. And so their input as current students was so valuable to all of us. So I thank you for that also, because hearing from students that are going into their senior year at the time was great for us. So thank you. Teresa?
This is a great spot to be sitting in. I have to tell you, first of all, I can hear really well, and these young men are nice to listen to.
Is your microphone on, Teresa?
Oh, God, yes, it is, it is. It's
Okay.
on. And I want to always thank Margaret for bringing beautiful things in at every meeting, except make them shorter. I felt like I was in Wild Kingdom tonight. So I'm very, very pleased with our financial situation, and given what we're talking about with getting some much-needed capital projects done within the district, it's really, it's just wonderful to see those kind of reserves that we now have in order to facilitate things that are definitely necessary with our buildings without impacting our taxpayers. So, thank you very much for that. That's it.
Thank you. A few scattershot comments. One, in case anybody didn't see the Cornwall Local last week, I think it was on the cover. Tony Ambrosino, hopefully I pronounced that right, the resource officer in the middle school, dug through the dumpster because a student accidentally threw out her grandmother's earrings, and he dug through the dumpster and found them. So hats off to him. That's really going above and beyond, and that's awesome. welcome to John and Caleb. Thank you for your contributions and look forward to working with you guys the rest of the year. You might have gotten yourselves in trouble, though. If you help form the scholarship, you're probably not able to win it, so. Okay. Well, good. Well, hopefully you set good qualifications for yourselves then. Congratulations to the National Merit semifinalists. And then just finally, you know, it's great to hear everybody's back to school. We're back 5 days. Great to hear about the activities, music, drama, sports, all ramping back up. But as we heard in the comments from Mr. Rivas, there's still issues. You know, we're hamstrung, of course, by the state and what we can do. But, you know, the superintendent, Terry, your number one goal is to get us back to 5 days a week. You know, obviously, the best we can based on what the state is giving us. And number two is supporting SEL. So, you know, thank you to Mr. Rivas for your comments. And hopefully, within the rubric that we're handed down from the state, we can use that community feedback. It's great in the situation that we're in to get that feedback from the community members, either to their teachers, to their principals, to the board, so we can always be tweaking and improving the situation that we're in to the best, you know, so we can do the best for all of our students and staff. Thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, welcome to our student representatives. Off to a great start. Caleb, you said something that I immediately wrote down. Said you don't realize who you don't see until you see them again. That is something you're going to witness all the time the rest of your life as the amount of people you know increases and your memory decreases. So, well said. Also, I saw that story in the Cornell Local about Tony. That was an inspiring, uplifting tale. The only time I've looked through the trash for something was when I was a waiter and I threw a customer's credit card in the garbage, which is notably not the same situation. A word on the, again, just to remind everybody about the Communication Committee meeting, 7 o'clock Wednesday here. Everybody is welcome. As everyone, I think, knows, we're, I guess we can officially say, putting up a bond proposal, and we're going to need all of the ideas and participation from as many people as we can possibly get, and the Communication Committee is one vessel for receiving that. So we really encourage anybody who is able and willing to come out, and we will find a role for everybody. And again, thank you for, or just to recognize some of the great accomplishments to start off. National Merit finalist Benjamin and Erin, that is an extraordinary accomplishment. It never ceases to amaze me the quality of student that we produce here in this district, and I look forward to many more years of that kind of success. Thank you.
A couple of the wonderful things about this district, and you hear it over and over. I mean, we have the academics, we have the best sports teams ever, and that's never going to change. I love that. But the fact that, you know, you hear that the teacher band welcomes students on the first day of school. You hear, and it wasn't really mentioned very much, but I wanted to make sure everybody knew about our new budding rapping star, rapper, in Darren Corsetti at the elementary school. At COH, on the first day of school, he produced this entire rap, made up, you know, his own, just amazing to see that happening. And I guess that's kind of going viral at this point. That CES has its own dragon mascot. That kind of stuff is what makes, you know, the kids, it's, you know, you're here for your schooling and you're here to learn, but it's that environment that kind of encompasses and envelops the kids too, so they get to see their teachers having a good time, you know, not just, oh, you're my teacher, but look, this guy plays in a band, how cool is that, you know, and it adds so many more connections with the students, which is just something that I think is great, and that people are being creative to come up with ways that are, you know, engaging and fun. To that end, I'm sure that there will be some creative solutions found to Oscar to help, you know, to help your son figure out maybe new strategies to make friends or whatever. But it's great that you brought that to us, and I appreciate that, because, you know, it is all about the entire experience and not just part of it. And here's to the upcoming fall show and concerts, and it's just so exciting, and it's great to hear you guys get that excited about it, because, you know, we're old and don't remember high school. But it's a great thing to hear, and I really appreciate your enthusiasm. Thank you so much.
So Margaret, you're right, and as you were talking, you are always right, always. Never forget that. So what came to my mind was Cornwall Cares. And whether it be Tony, whether it be the administrators working with the teachers and getting these contracts kind of resolved, these lingering issues resolved, people are working together for the benefit of the kids. And it's tough work. Sometimes it's ugly. Watching the sausage get made can be not a pleasant experience for anybody, but Cornwall cares. And you don't have to look too far to understand that and appreciate that. And my thanks to everybody. Welcome, John and Caleb. What a great start that you started this meeting with in talking about all the great things that are happening in our district. And, you know, I think it was John who mentioned this notion of last year, the black cloud or a gloom period seemed to be hovering. Well, it's pretty sunny and the weather's been freaking fantastic lately. And thank you for nothing succeeds like success. And the more we focus on how to succeed, the more we will succeed. And thank you for sharing the early successes, because that's just going to snowball into even greater successes as we go through the school year. So thank you. Cornwall cares. And as a result, I know that parents like Oscar are going to get solutions to the issues that are affecting their individual kids, because Cornwall does care for our students, and we have great teachers that live that truth every day. So hats off to them. Margaret, hats off to you for bringing that up, right? It's really about caring. And last thing I just want to say is congrats to our National Merit semifinalists. I'm sure there's going to be some type of recognition of all the National Merit people sometime in the future, but that's great. You know, it just demonstrates through hard times how perseverance, how smart we have, kids that are smart and dedicated, and what happens when they apply themselves. So thank you very much, and I look forward to a great year.
It's just good to be back. I think it's great to be back. Where I live, I hear the football field. I hear the kids in the playground and recess at the middle school, and it's so nice to hear. It's sounds that really we're missing, and you don't realize what you're missing until it comes back. You know, that's true. On a personal note, I'm a longtime resident, and tonight just struck me how long time it is. Caleb and your brother, your father grew up with my stepson, and they all went to school together, and it seems like a very long time ago. So it's kind of like full circle. So it's good to see you. Say hi to your dad. Well, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. So I think Tony deserves a big shout out there. I never dropped a credit card in the garbage or the trash, but I think he deserves accolades for going that extra mile. That's super important. You know, that's kind of what we have here, and that's just, you know, it's just part of it. I think it's great. John and Caleb, welcome. Good to have you guys aboard. I look forward to that tone you guys bring and that feedback from the schools. Again, very important. To note, they can go for the scholarship. It was very specific not to share the rubric with them in the early stages, so there would be no question whether they had an advantage or not. So best of luck to you guys. Certainly apply. And yeah, I too am happy that we can get to events now. I'm happy that we can all see each other outside of, you know, this venue and or a screened venue, and get to the football games and you know, the Cornwall Crazies were out in force and storm. At away games and home games, you know, it's great to see the soccer fields full and all the matches and such. And I'm looking forward to the winter concerts as well and you know, the drama productions. I think they're fantastic, all of them, all across the board, from elementary all up to the high school. So I too am happy to be back. Thank you.
Caleb and John, again, thank you so much for being with us. Excellent job by all, academic, extracurricular, sports. It's just, we're off to a great start. I also want to mention a big thank you to John Hines. If anyone in the community was at the 9/11 ceremony at the traffic circle, on that Saturday, John sang the Star Spangled Banner. It was awesome. So, John, I thank you as someone who certainly finds significant meaning with that day. It was another great example of Cornwall coming together. So it was outstanding. And I heard the recording when you sang at the Dome, but to hear this in person, live, was outstanding. So thank you so much for sharing your gift with the community. And it's just great to be with everybody tonight. And can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm not asking if anybody's opposed. Thank you, motion carried. Thank you all.
Was that in the flyer? You had that banging around in there?
That's been